Hello and welcome to today's European SharePoint and Office 365 community webinar. My name is Shane and I'm delighted to be joined by Christian Bauer, who will be talking to you about SharePoint and document automation. Remember to join in the conversation about today's webinar on Twitter. Our Twitter handle is @EuropeanSP and our hashtag is ESPC16. Also, attend any webinar in Training Week and your name will be entered into a draw to win a 3-day ticket to the European SharePoint Conference in Vienna, Austria. After the webinar, we will have a questions and answers session. Type any questions you have for Christian in the questions window. Some questions will be selected and answered at the end of the presentation. This webinar is being recorded and you will be notified by email when it is available. And now I'm going to pass you over to our webinar presenter, Christian Bauer. Hello, Christian.
Yes, thank you, Shane, very much for the introduction. This is Christian Bauer, Docs42. Welcome everybody to the webinar SharePoint and Document Automation. So what do I have prepared for you? First of all, I will run you through some general considerations when it comes to document automation together with SharePoint. Which stakeholders you will meet in companies, which documents are we talking about, which scenarios you will find when documents are created automatically in companies, yes, and which technical options do you have on the Microsoft platform to do so. These will be some general considerations, and then I will show you some demos, a lot of demos, how to realize requirements, document automation requirements together with SharePoint using Docs42. And we will see how to integrate data from SharePoint into attractive documents. We will see how to integrate data from SAP. We will see how to trigger document creation directly from SharePoint and out of workflows. And also we will have a look at Office 365, of course. So, which stakeholders will you meet in companies? I may introduce you to 3 of them. From left to right, Eager IT, Marketer Marketing, and Bertrand Business User. And when it comes to document automation and template creation, the 3 of them have a very different focus. Of course, the IT guy thinks about data integration, about performance, about security, about application integration, and so on. And Marketer Marketing thinks about corporate design, about how to make a visually attractive document. And this is very, very important as, yes, the documents are sent to your customers. They are your business card, the business card of your company. And I mean, customers are the most important people in your business life. So what they pay for, your wages are paid. And then there is Bertrand Business User. He is responsible for the business logic. When should which text block be integrated in which document? How does the process run? And so on. So, and what Docs42 offers you is a product that is flexible, powerful, and intuitive enough that every one of the 3 can work with it using his personal competence. If you do document creation, for example, with SQL Server reporting services, then Marketer Marketing and Bertrand Business User would not be able to design templates. They would have to run to the IT guy all the time and tell him their requirements. And if they are design related, like we need to change the color of the headlines, the IT guy might not be too happy about it. So it enables a company a lot if you have a tool where all 3 of them can work with. What documents are we talking about? There are a lot of documents we see and we work with during our business life. Of course, all kinds of reports, sales reports, project management reports, health reports, then all the things like offers and invoices and orders, tickets, certificates. Think about insurance policies. Yeah? Then audit reports, for example, or if you're in the real estate sector, then real estate valuations. All kinds of letters, customer letters, patient letters. We do not talk about love letters. Please do not manage your boyfriends and girlfriends in SharePoint. No, just kidding. SharePoint is a great tool, but it's not for managing boyfriends and girlfriends. And if you do love letters, please write them by hand. Okay. But contracts is a better example. You can create contracts, HR contracts, for example. Or think about product presentations. You might have a product database in your SharePoint, and you would like to create individual product presentations out of your SharePoint, tailored to your customer needs. Or, of course, all the governmental documents. So in which scenarios are these documents created in real life? Basically, we find three scenarios, one of which is copy-paste. That happens when the data that should be integrated in a document is already present in SharePoint, for example, or any other system, but business user copy-paste that data out of SharePoint into a Office template to create a document. They do that on purpose because it has some advantages. It's flexible. They can create an individual document for the customer and make him happy. But of course, it's costly, it's cumbersome, it's error-prone, and it's slow. And it's only 9 to 5. Yeah? You can't do that during the night. I mean, I hope you don't have your business users work during the night. Let's stress the point error-prone a bit more. If you create a document once and then again and again and again, like for example a patient letter, and you create that, let's say, 20 times a day, and you do that via copy-pasting, first of all, that's not a job you would like to do if you do that every day. And then at one point in time, you might be in love, you might be sick, you might be worried, you might be whatever, and you make a mistake. That happens. And you know that this will happen. And yeah, it's embarrassing. So that makes stress to the business user. And that's a point that is often underestimated by IT departments. Of course, business users become creative and try to help themselves. That's the point where the Visual Basic for Application hero steps on the scene. That's in many companies, that's a clever business user with some IT skills, or it's an IT guy that pities the business users and equips himself with some tools like Visual Basic for Application, Visual Studio Tools for Office, apps, mail merge, and so on, and tries to introduce some kind of automation. And this is definitely a quick win because it stays flexible and individual, it is an automation approach, and it leads to error reduction. But you're still in the low numbers. You cannot create airline tickets by that because you're still only on the client, it's 9 to 5. It's hard to adapt if you have software, successful software, business user come to you and say, can't we integrate that system? Can't we integrate another system? Can't we extend it? Yeah. If you have a few thousand lines of Visual Basic for Application code, have fun in extending that. So from an automation perspective, it is a quick win, yes, but it's a dead end because you cannot transfer document automation processes to the server to a 24/7 automation approach. So if you want to do that, many guys say, okay, we need to have a real application that supports server-side automation, that supports 24/7, has a great performance, that can be, for example, a big ERP system like SAP, Microsoft Dynamics AX, NAV, or some custom business software, HR management, blah, blah, blah software. Okay, cool so far, but flexibility is lost. Individual documents, no more. It's corporate design by IT. So, for example, I mean, each of you will have received a insurance policy once in a while. Did any of you ever get an insurance policy that really looks great? Where you say, wow, that's a cool document, it really looks nice, and look, there are additional offers that are really targeted to my personal life situation. They really thought about it, it's individual, it's really nice. No, you never get it because these insurance policies are normally generated by these real heavy Steam-powered applications and are not individual anymore. And then again, additionally to that, the question of data integration arises because, for example, if you have a document automation out of SAP and you want to integrate data from a SharePoint list, it's possible, but it's not easy. It is easy using Docs42, and I will show you that in a demo in a few minutes. But let's have another look at it from a technical perspective. Which technical options do you have on the Microsoft platform for automatic document generation? Basically, it's two. First of all, stay with Microsoft Office. Second, go to SQL Server reporting services. Or, of course, you can use a third-party tool. I would recommend Docs42, surprisingly. But now let's have a more detailed look into the two out-of-the-box options. When you stay with Microsoft Office, yes, you are standalone. You can create great, flexible, individual documents. You can go quite far without coding. You can do attractive design, but there are a lot of limitations. Of course, there is, for example, for mail merge, it's not possible to have many data sources, more than one. And even if you think about a simple contract, and you store your contract data in SharePoint, for example, you have employees, and you have positions, you have conditions, and so on in SharePoint, you have several lists. That's not feasible with mail merge. Okay? And then you can't run Microsoft Office automation on the server. I mean, technically you can, but I would not recommend it because Microsoft Office is not built to be run on the server. If you do it, and Microsoft Office pops up a message box asking a business user, are you sure? Do you really want that? Yes, no, maybe, I don't know, just leave me alone. That is not what you want on a server. To run server-side automation out of the box, Microsoft Platform, SQL Server Reporting Services is way to go. That's why it is integrated in Microsoft Dynamics AX and Microsoft Dynamics NEV for document creation. You can use as many data sources, you can run it on a server, it's great, but doing attractive document design with SQL Server Reporting Services is a really hard thing to do. It's not no code. You have to do programming for that. Flexibility and individual documents, custom individual documents are really hard to create with SQL Server Reporting Services. And that's exactly the point where Docs42 comes into play, because we combine the advantages of the two approaches. Docs42 uses Office, Microsoft Office for document template design. I'm going to show you that in a few minutes. And but you can integrate as many data sources as you like without any programming. We will see how to integrate SharePoint and SAP during this webinar, during the demos. And yes, you can create the documents on the server, server-side automation without Office automation. And that's one of the great USPs of Docs42. How does that look like? How does that feel? That's just an example of a Docs42 template. It is a Word document. Yes, on the left side you see a Word document. It's a template of a sales report. And it's open in Microsoft Word. You see the Docs42 ribbon open of the Docs42 Office add-ins. And with that, you connect to data sources and you just drag and drop these blue data fields into your template. And when you generate the document, these blue fields are filled up with the data, and there are some more controls to control the structure of the document. Here we got the name of the employee. Double click. Here we got the email. Double click. Then we want to email again as a QR code. Let's select here barcode QR. Okay. And then the image, there's a URL path. We select the type image. Let's say 120, okay. And we know that this image is on the site that is in our connection data source. Okay, let's give it a try and let's see what happens when we generate this document here inside Microsoft Word. Okay, it doesn't look too bad, but it's only one employee. Of course, we want to have a lot of them, at least 4. So we would have to repeat this, this section of the table. Let's do that with an automatic range. We just say repeat for data source employee list. Okay. Next trial. Okay, that looks better. Now our employees are imported from our SharePoint list to our document. But what is missing is this progress bar is always 100%, which is true for Selina Bentley, but not for the others. So that's not a dynamic progress bar, it's just a static image. We want to have a dynamic progress bar here. Let's go back to our data map designer, and we could use an Excel data source for that, because we could use an Excel chart. Let's create an Excel data source and pick some Excel file that can create a chart. I prepared one for you. How does that look like? It's a very, very simple Excel file, and it has a bar chart here, and it works as a progress bar. And what we want to do is we want to write the value of the field achievement just in this Excel cell here. So we select a cell, we select the data field achievement. Where is it? Here. Okay, it's numeric, fine. As a result, we would like to have the charts from the one and only worksheet we have. Okay. Okay, we save that. Now we get another data source progress bar. With the progress bar, we enter that as an image. Let's say, okay. Generate that here locally. Okay, so now let's compare. Okay. Looks like we are done, huh? Doesn't it? So what is still missing is to link this template we created to the SharePoint, because we want to have a button in SharePoint to create a document. What we created now is a template, and we want to link it to this button. There are several options to do that. One very simple one is just to do a custom action with SharePoint Designer. So we just open up our SharePoint Designer, we select the library and create a custom action here. And this custom action just calls the docs42 REST service and tells docs42, please generate the document for this template and return it as a PDF. That's it. The effect is when you click on it, docs42 server downloads the data, creates the document as a PDF, and you can download the document immediately from your SharePoint site. Here it is. So that took us, I would say, less than 10 minutes, so you can compare it to your estimation. Okay, and Marketo Marketing is able to change the template. So now you might say, okay, that was a very simple demo, right? Let's do a more complicated one. Let's bring in more complexity. We want to create a order template, and we want to link to not only to SharePoint data, but to SAP data as well. And we want to have a workflow creating this document, sending of emails, and we want to bring in some forms technology. So yeah, let's do it. Again, we go here to sales order list. This is a task list, and the data is taken from SAP. We use Theobald software components to create this list, to import data from SAP to SharePoint. And then we can just edit one of these tasks here, representing an order that is already present in SAP. We do that in that case with an index form, It is also possible to do that with any other form technology, of course, but I happen to do, but that demo was created together with an index, so in that case we use an index form. We have some lookups to see, okay, which employee should be responsible for this order. We can integrate an advertisement. This is also a lookup. We can change, we can select the language and so on, and we can preview the order confirmation. This order confirmation is linked via an SAP order number to SAP. So what happens when we click on that, a document is created that loads data from SAP, the order positions, into this document, does some calculation, integrates the image of Selena, her signature, and also a little Word document for the zoo in Vienna. If you happen to come to Vienna, maybe for the European SharePoint Conference, if you have some time, don't miss the zoo. It's very cool. Okay, so how does the template for this thing look like? We store the template also in a SharePoint list, of course. Here is the order template. We have it in German and we have it in English. Let's open the template in English. Here it is. It's also not very complicated. And you see that we have a lot of data sources here. And this is a SAP data source. Then we have some conditions here. We have a table for the order positions. A lot of data comes out of SAP, and other data is taken from SharePoint, like the employees. You already know them. Let's just see how we can connect to SAP. We open our data map designer again and open one of these SAP data sources, the data source position, for example. The DOCS42 SAP data source can connect to a SAP table. That's an info type. You can put an open SQL class here, or you can call an RFC BAPI, Business Application Program Interface from SAP. That's also possible. You have to do that. State which columns you would like to read, because in SAP there are a lot of columns. You don't need all of them normally. Then you can test it. Okay, here are the order positions for our order. Nice. That's it. How to create a SharePoint data source we saw before. They are linked together, and that's the way we created this document. Now, let's look at some workflow. Because, I mean, wouldn't it be cool to say, okay, if I'm done with that, I just say, okay, I would just send that off to the customer. Okay, let's do that. You see, by just clicking this task is completed, I started the workflow. And what should this workflow do? Let's look at the workflow. It's an index workflow in that case. You could use other workflow technologies as well, but it works with index as well also very nicely. We even offer DOCS42 workflow activities that integrates with an index workflow designer. There is one SharePoint activity, so the order confirmation should be created and saved to SharePoint, setting the metadata, order number of course, and then it should be sent off as a mail to the customer. And finally, we use some Theobald software index workflow action to tell SAP, oh, we are done here, we are ready. You see the workflow is not very complicated. It's exactly 3 actions. While we had a look at it, the workflow should be completed by now. Let's see, order confirmation about a minute ago. Let's open it. Yes, it's exactly the order confirmation we expected. And I should have received a mail. Let's have a look at it. Here it is. Sorry. So here's the mail, the email, and also the email contains as an attachment the order confirmation, of course, but the message contains a text, extended rich text field, and the advertisement and the image of Selena. This email was also made up with a DOCS42 template. Let's have a look at it. It's here the order confirmation mail. Here it is. So it's very simple. And it uses exactly the same data integration that the order confirmation is using. Okay. That was a bit a demo that was a bit more complex, but also it didn't take very long to set that up. What you can do using Docs42 Server, you can create documents in various output formats. Office formats, of course, PDF, you can store documents to SharePoint, setting the metadata fields, set check-in information, and so on, send off mails, even send mails to DocuSign for digital signatures, print, some other options, and you can even extend it with your own output options. Very frequently, this is triggered by a workflow, as you saw it here. That's possible with an index workflow, of course, but it's also possible with any other workflow technology. You could use K2 if you like, for example. We didn't try WebCom, but I'm sure it would work. You can even use SharePoint native workflows for the new workflow system, 2013, because that has a HTTP request action, and you can trigger the Docs42 REST service by that. So it's also possible with native workflows. I want to point your attention to another sponsor of the European SharePoint conference, the ProLogic Firestart workflow engine. That is also a very nice option because it is independent from SharePoint, connects to SharePoint, of course, but it connects as well to SAP and Microsoft Dynamics and other systems, which is a very nice thing because more complex workflows often run across these systems and are not always SharePoint-centric. And what is also very cool about the Firestart thing is that it visualizes the workflow as a BPMN, business process modeling and notation, in an office-like designer. So this is something business users and business process managers can understand. BPMN, business process modeling and notation language, is something business process managers are familiar with. They think about that. So for most of the workflow tools, you have a workflow, a process design tool, BPMN, and you have a process automation tool, K2, Index, whatever you think about. But the ProLogic Firestart is the only one that combines the two advantages, which I personally like. You can meet them at the European SharePoint conference. Nintex and WebCon will also be there, I know. Okay, then, anybody of you heard about Office 365? No, just kidding, of course you did. Just a little thing about Office 365. We go to, we have an employee list here in Office 365. You are already familiar with employee lists, and you're already familiar with this button to create an employee list. Yes, it does exactly the same. We have the same structure here from the employee list on Office 365 and as we had on-prem. And we create exactly the same, using the same template, we created an employee list. It's the same template. Of course, the employees are different because we have different employees in this list and that list in order that you can see the difference. So Dr. Cloudy and Angela Angel and Claudius Fogg, typical cloud dwellers. But the template is the same. What is important for me is that when you start automating your documents with the SharePoint on-prem, and at some point in time your company says, wow, we are going to the cloud, we want to use SharePoint Online, then you're fine. You just change the connection and you can keep your templates, you can keep your data maps. We do that. We have a bit of disrespectful attitude here. We don't care where you run your SharePoint. A SharePoint is a SharePoint. If you run it in the cloud or on-prem, it's a SharePoint. And it's great. What else you can do, you can, for example, put a menu item in the context menu here. For example, we want to generate a sales report for our Dr. Cloudy here. So we do that right out of the context menu. And we see that we get a sales report, the image, charts, a table, some calculations, and even dynamic Google Maps links. Docs42 is also able to integrate Google Maps as images directly in documents using the Google Maps API. And also it would probably be cool to have that as a PowerPoint. If you want to have a PowerPoint that contains all the sales reports of all these sales employees, then we can do that as well. And we started from Office 365, creating a PowerPoint. And what happens now is that the Docs42 server downloads the images of the employee, accesses the ERP system, creates the charts, and creates a PowerPoint that contains slides for each sales employee. By the way, the template for this presentation you can always get out of the Docs42 add-in. You can download the add-ins for free from our website, for a trial of course, and you can just open them here. Yes, and that's the template. It's just 3 slides. And that's the template how the sales report presentation is generated. So basically what works on SharePoint on-prem with Docs42 document automation. The same thing works on Office 365 as Docs42 itself can connect to SharePoint, to any SharePoint, but is independent from SharePoint. It does not need any coding, any sandbox solutions or anything else directly on SharePoint. Okay, last demo. I will just show you, give you a short glimpse, I would say, to Docs42 Live. Docs42 Live is a little web client that you can run on your on any device, even on your mobiles, and you can immediately create documents with Docs42 Live without any programming. You just design the template and the data integration, register it to the template with Docs42 Live, and can create it. Let's do it. Okay. It's one of our demo systems. We can create, for example, a sales report here. Then we ask for which employee. Let's do not always Selena, just another one. Okay, and this here. And we get a sales report generated right out of Docs42 Live. We can also create a ticket here. Let's go from Zurich to Vienna. And the name we want to have on the ticket. And we get a ticket with a dynamic Google map, some advertisement that is dependent from the city I'm traveling to, QR code. It's also. And there's also our SAP order and our employee list. So we can even create our SAP order. We saw that before on SharePoint out of an index form. We can do the same here. So we had Vienna, and we wanted to, let's take Alana. We can create the same template without any index form workflow or something integration. Just right out of Docs42 Live. But we have the full data integration because you saw that I have a drop-down here, and to fill this drop-down, a lookup to SharePoint is performed. Okay. We even got our employee list here. We can create our employee list out of Docs42 Live also. You know that. It's the same template we created before. Okay, and that thing looks very, very simple, and that is on purpose because you can run it on a mobile. It looks perfect if you run it on a mobile. It's absolutely nice. Okay, that was the last demo. And then we are approaching, with quick steps, the end of this webinar. No, not completely, because now it's up to you. We are happy to answer your questions, and for that, I will pass back the control to Shane. For my part, I say thanks for watching, and Shane, I would ask you to take over and go for the Q&A session. Thank you very much.
Okay, brilliant. Okay, so we have some questions in for you, Christian, if you're ready. Um,
Sure.
so the first question is, can I use it for free license? I would like to test it how it works in a lab environment.
Yes, there is a free license for the Office add-ins for 30 days. You're kindly invited to just download that from the website docs42.com. Just give it a try. If you have some questions, don't hesitate to ask us. We have a great support, and the guys will be very happy to help you. Yes, no problem.
Okay, brilliant.
Let's go ahead.
Uh, Next question is, can you clarify further Arch for Docs 42?
Sorry, I didn't. What
Yeah,
was the
so
question? Sorry.
the question is, can you reiterate the arch for Docs 42? The arch, I think you covered.
Arch.
No? Perhaps we can get that person to maybe resubmit the question a bit clearer. Sorry, the architecture. My apologies. It was.
The architecture. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
sorry for that. Okay, yes. Basically, the architecture of Docs42, we have two major things. The first is the Docs42 Office add-ins. This is for document template design. This is normally used by business users, that not all business users, but a few, who are in charge for designing the document templates. And then there is the Docs42 server that offers Docs42 Live and a SOAP and a REST interface. And that can be integrated with any system, workflow, SharePoint, SAP, Microsoft Dynamics, whatever you like. We have partners who integrated them in Java-based form systems as well. So there's a to integrate it. It's very easy to do so.
Okay,
That's
great.
that's basically the architecture, and that just one more sentence maybe. And this server can be extended. So for to integrate for data integration with special systems like SAP, Microsoft Dynamics, AX, and so there are extension packages. So there is a basic license that covers SharePoint and so on, and there are extension packages for more advanced systems.
Okay. The next question is, because it's a commercial solution, can you explain the licensing model?
Yes, basically the license is threefold for the Office add-ins. They are not very expensive. Then you pay a runtime for the server or the extension packages you want to run, and then there is a developer license as well. So that's it. But basically, just to give you an idea, Docs42 is not an expensive solution. So don't expect it to be very expensive.
Okay. Christian, thank you so much for your time today. That was a super presentation, and looking forward to seeing you in Vienna in November.
Thank you very much. I'm also looking forward to meet you there, and I hope the one or other attendee of the webinar has the chance to go there. Would be happy to meet you there.
Great. Thank you, Christian. Okay, everybody. So for more top quality training from the world's best speakers, look no further than Vienna. For the European SharePoint Conference, see sharepointeurope.com for full details. Also, everyone who attends a webinar this week will be entered into a draw to win a 3-day ticket to the European SharePoint Conference in Vienna, as we just discussed. That's it for now. Join us again for our next webinar on Wednesday, September 21st for permission management in SharePoint, overview and best practice. Thank you and goodbye.